Hello, everybody.
All right, this is a citation that was issued on August 31st of this year on M40 there in Valley Township. It's a speeding citation on an actual 75 and a 55. However, it was only written as a 1 to 5 over. Miss Rock, you were here on this 1 to 5 over speeding citation to do one of three things. First is you could admit responsibility to the citation, or two, admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide some sort of explanation as to how or why this happened. Or three, you wish to contest this citation. In other words, fight the ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
Contest the ticket.
All right. And then I would go ahead and ask you and Trooper to go ahead and raise your right hands. Swear or affirm any testimony you give here today would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Yes.
And so, Ms. Rock, it makes a lot more sense for me to start with the Trooper. He has the burden to establish to me why you were issued a citation in the first place. But then after that, you'll be able to either ask questions or testify in your own behalf. And with that, Trooper, you want to pick up the narrative somewhere where it makes sense, explain the issuing of this citation.
Okay. On August 31st, and I might have to turn my speaker down a little. Here we go. August 31st of this year, I was on duty in a fully marked patrol car in uniform. I was using a radar that's been approved for the use in the state of Michigan, and it's a radar that I'm trained to use, and it passed all its tests at the beginning and the end of my shift. I was on patrol at approximately 7:37 a.m. on M40 going northwestbound just prior to Allegan Dam Road. Ahead of me, the road comes up to a hill and then dips back down. So there was a crest, maybe a quarter mile at the most. In the opposite direction, I saw the target vehicle come over that crest, appeared to be exceeding the posted speed limit of 55, activated my radar, obtained a very brief tracking history of 75 miles an hour. It was the only target vehicle. It was the only visible vehicle in sight in front of me. There were no obstructions between my radar antenna and the target vehicle. The patrol speed on the radar matched the patrol speed on my speedometer, and the tone, the audio tone from the radar was consistent with the vehicle traveling 70 miles an hour plus. Effected a traffic stop for that speeding violation, identified the driver as Ms. Lauren Rock. No admissions or comments from her about the speed. Subsequently issued her a 5 over speeding citation, 60 and a 55.
Okay, and Ms. Rock, what is it you wish to tell me?
So on that day that the speeding citation was issued, I was a very alert driver. I had two hands on the wheel. My phone I have a magnet thing that's on my dash, and so my phone was up there. It was playing an audiobook. My eyes were on the road, and I was adhering and paying attention to all of the speed limit signs that were on every road that I went down. I was heading to my sister's house. We have business together. I was not in a rush. I was on time, and I was driving on that road, and I do not believe that I was violating any speed limits.
Okay, that's a lot of information. How fast do you think you were going?
Between 53 and 55.
Okay. In listening to this evidence, I doubt that a lot. All right. It's not like you're being accused of going, you only have a ticket for 1 to 5 over, but let me just reiterate what the trooper has said, right? The trooper said he visually saw your vehicle and he thinks it's going faster than 55. Now, we don't let him guess your speed because he's a human being and human beings could make mistakes, but road patrol officers are probably pretty good at assessing speed, right? So he knows that, hey, this car is moving faster than the speed limit. So then what he does is use his radar, right? It tones out, well, I'll get to that later, but it gets you at 75 and a 55. So a lot different than what you're saying, right? You agree. You're saying you're going 53 to 55. The radar saying you're going 75. That's not even close, right? So how do we determine, what that speed, that 75 is accurate? Well, first of all, that radar, like the trooper said, and I'm going to really drag this out. He tests that at the beginning and end of his shift. What he means by that, I'll just put a little more meat on the bone for you, is he has a separately calibrated speedometer in his patrol car, right? So that is separately calibrated to be an accurate speedometer. When he runs his check at the beginning of his shift with that radar, it has to match his separately calibrated speedometer. That's how it does a self-check to know that it's in working order that day. And then he might write tickets all day, but he also has to self-check that radar at the end of his shift, like he said he did, that it was also accurately working that day, right? So we have a human being who says, I do this for a living and I think this car is moving a lot faster than 55. Then we have a radar that's in proper working order that has you at 75 miles an hour. That radar is tested against a separately calibrated speedometer and was found to be in working order before and after his shift. And it also toned out. In other words, it makes a noise. And he knows what that noise is supposed to sound like. If he's getting a number above 70, like 75, that tone has to match. And he testified that it did. So that's all the evidence that you're going 75. You're here telling me you're going 53 to 55. That's your testimony under oath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have to decide what to do about that. Not only do I find that you were speeding, but the trooper didn't write you a ticket for going 20 miles over. He wrote you a ticket for going 1 to 5 over, right? He wrote you the wimpiest speeding ticket he can.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're coming in here and saying a lot of information, very clear, very articulate. You're not in a hurry. You're at 10 and 2. You're listening to an audiobook. You're paying attention to all the speed limits. And you know how fast you were going. You were going 2 miles less than the speed limit, right? And so I have to decide which one of you I think is more correct. I'm about this close to letting him amend that speeding ticket up from 1 to 5. All right?
Mm-hmm.
But I find you responsible on the ticket as it's written. Because you had a contested hearing, you have a right to appeal this decision for formal hearing. To do that, you must ask for that within 7 days of today's date, and you must come in and do that personally because you would need to post a bond in the same amount as the fine. We're all set here. I'm going to release you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Anthony Vincent.
Mr. Vincent, this is a felony file 243905FY. I'm going to read it to you.
Good afternoon, Darius here, appearing on behalf of Mr. Vincent for the purpose of arraignment. We've reviewed that felony file we were reading. He is asking the court to set up for probable cause in prelim. He was screened for court-appointed attorney, and that has been granted.
All right, so sir, you will have the public defender as your attorney for the remainder of this matter. You wish to address bond?
Your Honor, we're at this time in speaking with Mr. Vincent. He understands the severity of the charges as well as maximum penalties associated with this. He's asking the court to consider a reduction of bond. He is currently unemployed, and if he was to have any chance at bond, he understands there are likelihood conditions attached to pretrial release. So we're just asking the court at this time to consider a reduction.
Sir, do you have a bond amount you can make?
No, there's no sense for a reduction. I ain't gonna make any hundreds of thousands.
So we will leave bond in place at this time. You already have next court dates. You have a probable cause conference on October 24th, a preliminary hearing on October 30th. That's in courtroom A in front of Judge Scotchless. You will get copies of those dates and times. You must show up for those dates and times. If you're still incarcerated, corrections will make you available. You're all set, sir.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
There you go. Yep. This is a citation. It was issued on September 19th of this year on Lincoln Road there in Trowbridge Township. says failure to yield right of way involving an accident. Ms. Pruitt, you're here on this citation to do one of three things. First is you could admit responsibility to the citation, or two, admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide some sort of explanation as to how or why this happened. Or three, you wish to contest this citation. In other words, fight the ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
Fight it.
All right. Then the first thing I'd ask is both of you to go ahead and raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Ms. Pruitt, it looks like you may have froze on my end. I can't
Okay.
see what you're doing there. Are you raising your right hand?
Yes.
All right. Swear or affirm any testimony you give here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Pruitt, it makes a lot more sense for me to start with the deputy. He has the burden to establish to me why you were issued the citation in the first place. But then after that, you'll have an opportunity to either ask questions or testify in your own behalf.
Okay.
With that, deputy, you want to start somewhere that makes sense, explain the issuing of this citation.
Yes, I'm Deputy Markowitz at Allen County Sheriff's Office. On September 19th at 2:32 p.m., I was dispatched to Lincoln Road and 26th Street for a PD accident. When I arrived on scene, I observed a damaged vehicle in the middle of the intersection and another damaged vehicle on the shoulder of Lincoln Road. Myself and Deputy Meyer investigated the crash and interviewed both parties. The driver of the vehicle that was on Lincoln Road stated that he was westbound on Lincoln when he was struck by another vehicle. And the driver of the vehicle that was going south on 26th Street, she stated that she was stopped at the flashing red light at the intersection, and that there was a vehicle turning right onto 26th Street. And that's when she proceeded into the intersection and struck the other vehicle. She said that she did not see the vehicle that she struck because it was obstructed from view by the truck that was turning right onto 26th Street. I issued her a citation for failure to yield the right of way because Lincoln Road is through traffic. They have the right of way. 26th Street traffic must stop at the blinking red light and proceed.
So just to clarify, it's a blinking yellow for Lincoln?
It's a blinking yellow for Lincoln.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ms. Pruitt, what is it you'd like to tell me?
Okay. On the police report, he said I was going straight. I was actually turning left onto M89, heading towards Otsego so I can go to Kalamazoo. And I proceeded. I stopped at the blinking red light, made sure it was clear, and I went. And that car was in the turn lane, turning right. And he shot out from behind the car that from the turn lane and decided to go straight at the last minute.
Okay, ma'am. Here is the issue. That's something different than the deputy's telling me. Deputy's telling me there's two cars, right? One's turning a right, and then this car that you hit is behind that car.
Yes, he was turning right. He was in a turn lane turning right. And he shot out from behind that car.
Okay, but ma'am, here's the problem. They have the right of way, so you cannot turn onto Lincoln unless it's safe to do so. Having an accident means it wasn't safe to do so. The car you're observing turning right, the car behind him, i.e. the car you hit, could have every intention to have been turning right, but doesn't have to. In other words, they went around the car because the car in front of them is turning right. So they have the right of way. They're on Lincoln.
That car that hit me went and it was on the turn lane, decided not to turn at the last minute. My boyfriend seen everything. He shot out from behind that car and hit us.
Okay, but here's what I'm telling you, ma'am. Here's what I'm telling you. You're waiting to make your left turn, and there are two cars coming down Lincoln. The front car wants to make a right and makes a right, right?
Yes.
The car behind that you think wants to make a right as well, but ends up going straight and has an accident with you.
Yeah, he was in the turn lane.
Okay, so you would not have been allowed to make your turn until that second car is the lead car and is attempting to turn right. Because before they're the lead car, they're just heading westbound on Lincoln. They have the right of way and you would need to yield to them.
And I did.
Well, no, you didn't, ma'am, because you had an accident with them. So I would find you responsible on this citation as it's written. Now, this is probably what's more important to you is if you disagree with my ruling today, you have a right to go to what's called formal hearing. Formal hearing is in front of the district court judges with the prosecutor's office. It likely involves them subpoenaing these other drivers to testify as well. You have every right to have that sort of hearing. To have that hearing, to continue to go further on this, you got to do two things. One is you must ask for that within 7 days of today's date because your window of opportunity to continue this closes after 7 days. And two, you must come in and post a cash bond in the same amount as the fine to guarantee your appearance at formal hearing. Do you understand your rights on appeal?
Yes.
All right, then we're all set for what we need to do here today. I'm going to go ahead and release parties.
Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.